is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Championship week is in effect. JJ Wang, are you vying for any trophies this week?
I got a dynasty trophy and a redraft league going on, so pretty confident in one, not so much the other. So we'll see how it goes.
Nice. I got 2 dynasties and 1 redraft, our auction league. Oh, and next year I need to apologize for the Fantasy Couriers Outrageous League. Next year I got to put a note in things. I haven't mentioned it at all. We had a pretty competitive league with people picking up and down throughout the year. I'm actually in the championship versus our buddy from Indiana, Jared, who was on the Bold Prediction Show a year ago. So 2 of us are in the championship. But next year my goal. This year was the trial to figure it out. I'm just trying to. I've been a hot mess of keeping organized, but next year I want to do like a 3-minute just a recap of that league since it is sponsored by the Fantasy Couriers. I'll put something on there. But Jared is shooting blanks on there for guys that are in the league. Good dude, good follower, friend of the podcast. We connected through the Facebook and the podcast. Him and I are going in the championship. He took out Pastor Jacques, who is who gave me the idea for the donation for the league. So it was a good league, fun, different rules. I like messing it up. The scores were outrageous, and the game was kind of a different kind of game.
The games are fun, but I'm not really sure I was a fan of the 2 quarterback and the super flex.
What about 3 quarterbacks?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can put the 3 quarter. There just wasn't. I mean, quarterbacks just was out of control, but you had to get lucky. That's part of it. And plus, also, I was not really a fan of the waiver wire per se.
What part?
Huh?
We'll talk about.
We'll get.
That'll be off-season topics. We'll look at like leagues, different kinds of leagues, ways to do waiver wires, maybe ways to tweak leagues. That can be our off-seasons. Everybody's listening. We are going to post our shows this week, which is Christmas week, on Wednesday. At the top of the year, our New Year's podcast will be posted on Wednesday. Then after that, we'll probably be back to our posting on Monday mornings, and we'll record sometime between then and do 1 show a week until the season begins. You said it. We'd be sad. I went right back and re-listened to that part. How I'm all like, too much football. You'll be sad soon. We'll be sad.
Yeah,
so
you'll be sad. You'll be sad. It's coming.
That's where we're getting to, isn't it? It seemed like too much football. I don't know if I watched. I don't feel like I watched too much football. I was able to balance life and football during.
Well, I don't think it was too much football. It was just more days of football. It was the same amount of football.
It was spread out like all tomorrow.
Yeah, it was just over more days. It was just we got to watch more individual games than we typically get to.
Yeah, not in like 4 screens. I introduced my in-laws to the 4-screen YouTube thing, and they were like, "Whoa!" But
I still just watch the Red Zone channel.
Yeah, I love watching a good game have the red. I couldn't put the red zone in the corner because it was always ahead of the game, which drove me a little bit bonkers. But so last week we had a lot of weird stuff going on, a lot of pleasure and pain. But we don't want to dwell on the past. It was a good weekend of football, as we just said. We got to see lots of the games. Let's move on to this week. We'll revisit, everybody. If you want to, we'll revisit what happened last week as we go through this week's game with our next to last.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're already in the middle of the week. I mean, there's no point in rehashing old news, opening up old injuries. I mean, who wants to hear about how bad Brock Purdy was, right? So he was not good, right? Yeah, we don't want to. It's already been killed for the last 2 days. So I mean, let's just work in the now.
Funny thing though, I did see on one of my fantasy football groups, this dude lost by like half a point because he started Brock Purdy and he got -1.5. I was like, oh.
Well, speaking of that, our good friend Rich, my brother-in-law, lost to his wife by 3 points because Brock Purdy scored -1.5 points.
Oh, that's what it was. I saw him get mad. I didn't see what happened. I saw he was ahead. That's
hilarious. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
So Brock Purdy hurt a lot of people after. I mean, what he does do is he does go with my argument about Christian McCaffrey being the league MVP, I think. This might have crushed the Brock Purdy truthers. You can't have a 4 interception game and be the league MVP, I don't think.
I mean, maybe not, but I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like every quarterback has had a 4 interception game. Now, I bet if if you go back and look, that pretty
and
sure
won
they
the
altered
MVP.
with him.
That's
No, no,
crazy.
no. But
I
if
still
this
like Brock
game
Purdy.
would have if this game would have happened in week 1, week 2, it would have been okay. But the fact that it happened when it did, that's the issue.
Yeah. So and let's jump in. Let's see what's going on. Game by game preview. Okay, this week we have 3 days of football, two nights and a day of football. We start out with the game of the week on Thursday night. The Jets, Trevor Siemian-led Jets, facing the Cleveland Browns. Breece Hall has come to life. Is Breece Hall going to have a better game than Jerome Ford this week?
Well, my God, I hope so. I mean, I'm praying for it.
Don't know if he will though.
I think he does. So you know what? I can't really say that. He might not. I say no. I don't want to say no, but I mean, it's that Browns defense is tough, and the Jets are terrible. So
This game features, as we were talking about last week, two guys who just went crazy whack nuts. Like, you got Breece Hall, who's been pooping on everybody's team all year. And then you got Amari Cooper, who's done his best Tyler Lockett impression, but Joe Flacco's brought him to life, that he's almost become a DK Metcalf kind of player. Which one of those guys will be closer to performing like they did last week? Because they both put up a boat ton of points.
I think Amari Cooper has a better chance to do what he did than Breece Hall, just because the Jets are terrible and they're going to run the ball. I mean, that's what it is. And the Browns got a great defense, and the Jets don't. I mean, so I think Flacco could do this again, maybe. It's probably not going to happen. But, I mean, I would say Amari Cooper and Joe Flacco could repeat what they did.
Yeah, part of the show, I was sitting there putting on my my rankings. Speaking of which, ranking number 20, I was number 21 this week. My best ranking. I've been pooping the bed for a while, but I was like 21. Nice.
Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking earlier in the week. I was like, he hasn't mentioned his rankings in a long time. Must not be very good.
It's been very bad. This was like a money week. So my rankings, I came in 21st, and my stud for the week was Dontavian Wicks, who was doing it. Then he got hurt. My dud for the week was Tony Pollard, who totally pulled down that one. And my bold prediction was Nick Mullins is going to lead you to a championship game. Fantasy Pros expert of the week, DJ Dove. But anyway, let's so Browns and Jets. Would you Flacco this week? I'm struggling because the Jets defense is still the Jets defense. They're not terrible. Where would you is Flacco a QB1 this week, or would you want to go into the okay, but he's been the last 3 weeks.
I mean, maybe he might finish as a QB1, but I don't think anybody is putting him as a QB. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there doing it. Don't get me wrong. People are probably, I'm going to be smarter.
That guy that was 8 seed is now in the championship game.
Yeah, but there's really no. I mean, you got to be really brave to put. I mean, considering the amount of injuries, yes, Joe Flacco might be your QB1 just because you have no other choice. But you got other choices. I mean, it had to be pretty bad.
We'll visit it later. Joe Flacco or Nick Mullins, if those were the two guys left on your roster.
Oh, I would go Joe Flacco. I'm not putting my hopes on Nick Mullins. I don't care. It's Nick Mullins.
Yeah, he's got. Anyway, we'll get to Nick Mullins. But so that's Thursday night. Saturday at 8:00 on apparently every ESPN affiliated channel. It's going to be everywhere. Like the Lions and Cowboys are getting ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, ESPN Deportes. They're just putting
Friday. You said Friday night?
Saturday. So Saturday the 30th. So
I was about to say, if it was Friday night, I'd be watching SmackDown before I'd be watching the Cowboys.
Well, not this week. It's the week. It's the year in review. So, speaking of the Cowboys, I am wearing my Dolphins shirt because my Dolphins finally beat a team that has a winning record, even though it's the Cowboys. But the Lions versus the Cowboys, it's interesting. The Lions, I saw a stat. They could be the first team with 1,000-yard tight end, 2,000-yard running backs, and 1,000. It was some 1,000-yard receiver. Like both running backs are within they got to get 50 yards a game or something to get 1,000 yards. Laporta, I think, is about the same. But it's interesting to see that they won their division. They're going against the Cowboys. Both of these teams are playoff teams, and when they look good, they look good. But the losses they've had, they have not looked good. So we're looking at Stafford versus Dak. Dak on the year is a better quarterback. Who do you feel more comfortable bringing a trophy?
You said Detroit?
Detroit, yeah. So
You said
I keep saying Stafford. Golf, yeah.
okay, I just wanted to make sure they wasn't playing the Rams.
We're
Just wanted to
playing the
make
game
sure I
4 years ago. That's all. This is why I'm a Fantasy Pros expert. I don't know who Matt Stafford plays for. So golf. So anyway, golf. Stafford's been good too. Golf versus and Dak this week are going head to head. You hate Dak, but golf can lay some eggs. Who do you feel more
Well,
confident bringing home the
you
trophy?
know who else can lay some eggs? Dak. And Dak is currently laying some pretty big eggs right when you need him the most, which is what Dak does. So I'm starting Jared Goff over Dak, but that's just personal hatred I have towards the Cowboys at the moment. All right. I mean, it could be true. I mean, it could be sway, I'm sure. It's all negative, but I'm just going Jared Goff right now. I just can't do that.
I think we're confident CD will get his for the most part. He was pretty ticked off. You got Amon-Ra who will probably get his. The Cowboys defense still is decent. Mostert got his touchdown, but that was about it. Are you concerned if you have Gibbs and Montgomery in this matchup?
I mean, not really. I mean, I don't think so. I think they can just pretty much do what they've been doing all year. I mean, the Cowboys are a good defense, but I mean, they're not going to change. I think Gibbs has a chance to be a top 12 running back, and then I don't think Montgomery has that ceiling at the moment, but I think it's a considerable RB2, both of them.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a decent game. I think it'll be a fun. It'll be a fun. It's a good Saturday night game that they have there.
You know what else was supposed to be a decent game? Miami and Dallas. You know what wasn't a decent game? Miami and
Baltimore
Dallas.
and 49ers.
But that was actually a good game. That was a good game to watch.
Terrible game. So yeah, let's get to Sunday, the game that should have been flexed, but for some reason the NFL says they would rather make their money on the Packers and the Vikings than playing Miami versus Baltimore. Okay. I guess they're figuring Baltimore's just going to roll the Dolphins. So you got your Dolphins going against that Baltimore defense in the playoff game. Who worries you there? Is it just the running backs? Because you know Tyreek will pretty much get his. Keep an eye on Waddle, high ankle sprain, and Tua's been mediocre.
People watch Waddle. Keep watching on my bench.
He's been great the last couple weeks.
That guy's a crap show.
But he blew up with no time. But Tua, I heard it. I was listening to online today. You know that Patrick Mahomes is QB 19 over the last little bit of time.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is absolutely terrible right now.
But you know who number 20 is? Tua. So, going in the championship game, Tua or Joe Flacco?
I'd probably still go Tua over Flacco at this point. It's a tough call. But it's still Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco is.
But it's still Joe Flacco. You don't want him to lay the egg on Thursday, right? That's pretty much going in and having fun on the day, at least.
That's. But I would still go Tua, I think.
All right, that's Gus Edwards or any Miami running back. Will Gus squeeze in that, or is Miami's defense looks pretty stinking good?
I'll go maybe Mostert, but I've been a wee bit disappointed by your homeboy Devin Achane over here. Whether he's injured or not, nobody wants to say it because they remember those early games. Maybe he is injured, but that burst isn't there anymore. Those big plays aren't there anymore. So and then the injuries are going to start. I mean, I'm sorry, I might not be totally on board here.
Tyreek goes for 200 because he needs it. Are they just going to pass? Is McDaniels going to try to get this 2,000 yards? That's what he's got to do.
I don't think it.
A lot of yards.
I don't think it happens.
I don't think it happens. I think the injury pretty much derailed that. So it'll be interesting to see. Like Lamar, I'm having trouble placing because the Dolphins. I think they'll lose the game because I got to think that because I'm a Dolphins fan. That's what we think. But
well, you know what?
Lamar a little bit because their defense is playing really, really good.
So I watched the 49er Baltimore game. It was one of like the only games that I said that I watched the whole game, and Lamar just looks like a legit quarterback back there these days. Before you'd always say, well, he's going to run, but he sits back there and makes passes. I mean, I'm not going to say anything negative about Lamar at the moment. I think he's going to be QB1 on the week. I mean, I just think he's going to have. I can't bring any negative comments on Lamar from my mouth right now because I'm riding on his back. So I think from what I've seen on Monday night, the 49ers defense is great, and he just absolutely obliterated it. So I think the same thing happened.
I hope not.
Go
But anyway,
Lamar.
uh, next game, Patriots and the Bills. Patriots looking to play spoiler to the Bills, who will the real Buffalo Bills please stand up, because we don't know who that team is. The Patriots and Zappy are winning games and trying to ruin their draft pick, pretty much is what they're trying to do. Are they player that I would be concerned the most with in this game is James Cook. He's been getting the tote, getting the ball. Patriots defense, basically they're not as good because they're on the field 75% of the time because the offense is so bad. So with Cook going in there, are you worried at all? Or followed by, what are the chances that Zeke has a better day than Cook?
I mean, I think there's a good chance. I mean, up front, I think the Bills probably roll here. And I know it's the Patriots, but I think Josh Allen's playing really good. I think the Bills end up winning out. So I save it for that Miami game next week or week, whatever it is.
Next week.
But yeah, I think Zeke could score more points. I mean, James Cook is known to have crappy games. I'd still be a little scared if I was Diggs is on my team the way he's been up and down. But I do want to give a shout out to my boy Gabe Davis coming in out of nowhere, knowing you can't start him, pops in a big game, gets you excited. So hey, still like Gabe.
48 points or 0. And also, if you still have Ramondre, just drop him unless it's Dynasty. He's on IR for the rest of the season. We're going to the Falcons at the Bears. The battle of mediocrity. Low mediocrity is what we got. Khalil Herbert blew up last week. They're saying it's possibly because Foreman was out on personal issues. So Khalil Herbert could be a great pickup if Foreman doesn't play because they don't like Roshan. DJ Moore's play has been mediocre. Like he was killing it earlier with Fields, and he went bland recently. Bijan is dead, and Heineke's the quarterback. What are we doing with this game? Avoiding it at all costs, or do we?
I think you're avoiding most of the Falcons. I mean, except Bijan. I mean, you got to start. I mean, you don't. It sounds ugly, but you got to start him. But I mean, everybody else you can set. You wouldn't be too shaky of. As far as the Bears go, I mean, if Foreman doesn't play, I think Herbert will be a good play. But I think the only Fields. I think the Fields is probably the only one you can trust. I think.
Yeah, and you probably got to play DJ Moore. There's a lot of questions I get this week. Who should I play? And basically, my answer is ride the horse that brought you. One guy I was talking about Eckler. Yeah. I said you don't want to set Eckler, and you want to lose with Eckler scoring 3 points, then lose with Eckler scoring 27 on your bench.
I can't feel you there, but I can also feel you about wanting to set him down too.
I totally want to set him. I wanted to tell him to set Eckler and I forget who it was, but it was Kenneth Walker. I was gonna say set Eckler for Walker, but I almost can't bring myself to do it because of the.
I mean, I might do that. I mean, honestly,
it would be close. Yeah,
I might do that.
Brett, you heard that? Brett, we were messaging earlier today. Okay, so let's go to the Titans and the Texans. Will Levis, I believe, is back this week, but Tannehill threw basically just a Chigakonkwo. Could that be a Konko's? Do you think it's his coming out party? Is he now going to be right up there with Trey McBride? And
I mean, if Tannehill plays, I mean, evidently it will be. So I mean,
it's athletic.
That's about as far as it goes. I mean, he hasn't done anything all year, so I can't imagine you wanting to put him in your lineup at this point.
I mean, isn't this this game where Derrick Henry threw the touchdown?
Yeah.
So Derrick Henry's in there. You're going to lock and load him. You got the Texans. I mean, really, Nico looks like he could be a legit wide receiver in this league from being a guy that everybody out of Michigan was like, meh.
I mean, I think he's definitely legit. I mean, that team is just in shambles right now.
Unless you're Devin Singletary. He apparently decides to play December Devin. Since McKinnon's on IR, he is playing like he's this year's Jarrett McKinnon is all I can say.
Probably double D's, right?
Yeah, next, we have the Raiders at the the Raiders at the Colts. The Raiders defense is on a roll, man. 2 touchdowns back to back. They beat the living tar out of the Chiefs, embarrassed the Chiefs
Hey,
last.
that game was so bad.
So bad.
The, the fact that the Raiders won that game that's all you need, man. The Chiefs are just in absolute.
Do you know what
You
was
know
great
what?
about that game? Nickelodeon slime and abominable snowman in the
I
audience.
wasn't. I
I
tried
watched a little
watching
bit.
it. I tried watching. Wasn't a fan. And I'm not gonna lie. It brings a little smile to my face to see the Chiefs go through struggles and people try to create. Now, don't get me wrong. The receivers have been pretty bad. But I mean, it brings like a warm and fuzzy feeling to my heart when people start criticizing the Chiefs and like place a chink in Patrick Mahomes' armor, but I think it's funny.
Oh, I like seeing new teams rise to the top and different. Like that's what's great about football is that there is. It's not. I mean, except for the Patriots for the longest time. Otherwise, every other. It's just it moves around. It's competitive balance, unlike baseball and basketball. You know who's good in baseball this year. You could know who's going to be the playoff teams in basketball and who's not, like the Pistons.
Most of the time.
Yeah, so you got the Raiders and the Colts. Keep an eye on Jacobs, possibly going to play. Zamir White has looked great. Do they move on from Jacobs? Jacobs is gone, correct? Wouldn't you
Well,
say?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is why they signed him to just a 1 year deal. I mean, if Zamir White is going to play, I mean, be able to have this opportunity, why not just save the money and move on?
Yeah, and keep an eye on Pittman, see if his noggin is wiggling or not as you go in. You're going to start Taylor, and then this could be one of the last 2 games Devontae Adams plays for the Raiders. We'll see.
Maybe we'll see what
Can't look much
happens.
worse, that's for sure. As much as I'd hate it, I'd love to see him go back to Aaron Rodgers. Give me some. I need that on my team that is getting ready to die. So we got the Panthers and the Jaguars. This might be my
Oh
upset
my
special this week.
God,
This might be
man!
my upset special. Did you see tickets to the Panthers games were going for like 47 cents?
Yeah,
My brother used to live down in Raleigh, so we went by the stadium when I was down there to see him. And he said there were like 10,000 people. I didn't even pay attention to that game. I could care less. But this is close to like ETN this week is my bust of the week. Because I could just see with Trevor being iffy, ETN, he has not, since their bye week in 9, has not eclipsed 56 yards. And he has 2 weeks with 50 yards. Only thing saving him are 4 catches a week. He's my dud for the week. He's my dud. Zamir White, last game, is my stud for the week, but I put in quotation marks or an exclamation or brackets that only if Jacobs doesn't play. If Jacobs
Oh
plays,
yeah,
yeah. But I could totally see the Panthers winning this game. I really could because the Jaguars look like a heaping pile of poop. They were the number 1 seed at one point. Remember that?
oh yeah. I remember they ain't
Now
no
they're
number 1 seed now.
poop.
It's awful. I'd be scared to put anybody on that team in my starting lineup.
There's one guy in this game I will play,
Adam Thielen.
and I am going to play him. Chuba Hubbard.
You're
I
probably
need
the
him.
safest guy to play.
Yeah, with running backs,
That's
Chuba's
terrible.
been good. He could. I mean, he's. I've liked. I said it last week. I've liked him this week. So let's move on by that pile of crap. Let's look at the Rams. The Rams, who all of a sudden are in the playoffs from being that terrible team with with terrible Cam Akers and nothing but Puka, and all of a sudden they're playing good, and then Puka's playing excellent. Cooper's been mediocre, and they're going against the Jets, who benched Tommy DeVito. Oh, the story is over. Tyrod came in almost pulled it off.
You should have started Tyrod. It'd be a different game. I,
If Tommy
I
DeVito went to
will
that pizza place,
I will say Tyrod for all the crap that this guy is absolutely amazing, man. Shout out to you, Tyrod Taylor, coming out of Virginia Tech.
yeah.
I did not think this was anywhere near a possibility that we would be talking about Tyrod Taylor 47 years after he left Virginia Tech. It is absolutely amazing. Shout out to you, man.
I remember watching the terribleness he had in Baltimore. Like, he's one of he's like where Gino is. You're looking, you're like, man, you're still around. Congratulate you did a career.
Don't put Gino in the same stratosphere as Tyrod Taylor.
I might. Gino, I see him very similar.
Hey, Tyrod Taylor has been good over his whole career. I'm not going to say legitimate. Tyrod has started. He has started pretty much everywhere he's went at some point. Gino has one good season. That's it. Nothing else.
We get long. Okay, I'll seed it. I'll seed it.
I'm
Put
not
it.
saying Tyrod's great, but he's
Yeah,
way better than
I
Geno
thought he'd be
Smith.
out of the league in 3 years. How about that?
I didn't even think he'd make it in the league.
I figured he would. He looked good in college. But so we got the Rams versus the Giants. You're basically starting Saquon. That's it. Are you? Nobody in the championship game in their right mind is starting Tyrod, unless you're in the fantasy careers outrageous league and you got to start 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I wouldn't
Um,
start. I wouldn't start any of them.
I asked you the question last week, and you guessed wrong. I mean,
I
Kyron Williams,
usually.
he's like an RB2. I think he's my RB2 last week, which was spectacular. Um, Puka or Cooper? You rolling with your man?
I will still. I'll go Cooper.
I'll say
I'm
Puka, but I mean, it doesn't matter. They're both stellar. Could you imagine the Rams if they could come into next season really challenging the 49ers in the West if they just come back
They could challenge the 49ers
this year?
this season.
True, like
Right?
making the playoffs, right?
The way they're playing right now. I mean, I'd be scared to play these guys.
Prior to last week's game, there were only 4 teams over 500 in the NFC, and those were the division leaders. How crazy was that? Now there's a couple 8-7s and whatnot, but let's go to the walloping of the week: the Eagles versus the Cardinals. So you're locked and loaded. You really don't want to play any Cardinals not named Trey McBride, and I'm allergic to this game. The guy that I'm looking at in this game that I really think could win me a championship this week from our auction league is DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift has been scoring enough points the last couple of weeks, and now
Are
he's
you
going
sure? Has he been scoring enough points?
I said enough.
Enough?
Like he's not.
Are you sure?
But against the Cardinals,
I remember a 3-point game in there. That's not enough.
oh, well, I will, as I'm going to my point here, against the Cardinals, who are one of the most putrid defenses in the entire league.
That's true.
What, DeAndre Swift, I have him as a top 5 running back. I mean, last week, 17 points. The week before, 11.3. He had the duds before. But, so I said the last couple weeks.
There,
there
was an S. There was an S on that. There was an S on that.
Yes, but he's playing the Cardinals. DeAndre Swift, my bold prediction, top 5 running back this week. I got it. I haven't written it yet. That's what I'm going to write.
My top 5, my bold prediction for the week, DeAndre Swift might not have 5 fantasy points.
We will revisit this next week. But DeAndre Swift, I think, could roll the Cardinals. Would you say James Conner or DeAndre Swift?
That is a very good
James
question. I want to say DeAndre Swift, but I'm going to go James Conner just because I think James Conner's got more volume coming to him.
Who would have thought when he went to the Cardinals? I thought he was toast, that he was going to be this, like, he's like consistent when healthy. If you look at his career, James Conner when healthy, great.
He's like a running back version of Tyrod Taylor.
No, I think he's
maybe a little better. Maybe a little better.
Okay, let's move on to a game that might be a little better. The Saints, who Kamara decided to poop on my team last week. Thanks a lot, you big turd. Versus the Buccaneers, who are looking prime to Rachaad White. Is Rachaad White a top 5 running back now?
Now I think Rachaad White might be a top 5 running back. Now we can start discussing some top 5 running back situations.
Rachaad White or Kamara? Who has a bigger week?
I'm going to go Rachaad White.
Olave or Mike Evans?
Ooh, I'm going to go Mike Evans.
This is a tasty fantasy game. Who would have thought? In Superflex, you might be starting Baker. Like at this point with the injuries, Baker and Carr might be a discussion you have for your second guy.
I can't imagine in a Superflex league where Baker isn't starting. Got to be. He's like some people's QB1 at this point at the end of the season.
I'm so excited. I mean, my guys starting the year.
Carr on the other hand, is a little bit. Well, I mean, last week, sure. I mean, it's like wishy-washy all over the place.
He's Gino, right?
Trusting Baker way more than trusting Carr.
Baker earned himself some dinero this year. But, I mean, you're starting. But that's a good fantasy game, as oddly as it looks at some of the other duds we've had. Then we go to the other game. This is not going to be pretty. After what happened Monday, is there any Washington Commander you would even want? Should they just stay home because of what the 49ers are going to do to them this week?
They actually might have a better chance than you think with Jacoby Brissett playing than Sam Howell. It might be kind of no.
What? Wait, JJ, wait. You're a truther for Sam Howell, brother.
I am a truther, but I mean, Jacoby Brissett's playing, So I mean, that's so I gotta can't be that much of a truther at this point. But I think they're still going to roll them. But I think the Redskins might look or the Commanders might look a little better.
That should be a game next year. We see how many times we go through the year because we grew up near Washington. How many times we call them the Redskins? Just keep a tally, and I'll have like a buzzer ready.
Well, I mean, it's hard when
It's hard.
everybody around me still uses it. Nobody. I mean, it's still everybody still uses it, and that. So I'm like, you know what? Everybody else does it. I'm going to start doing it too. Screw it.
All the cool kids are doing it. And you're looting all your 49ers. Bigger week, Debo or Ayuk?
Sorry.
Debo or Ayuk? Bigger week.
I'll probably Debo. I think
you're playing both. Because he's the best. He's the reason they're good. Okay, anyway, MVP, baby. Steelers and the Seahawks, those pesky Steelers just won't go away. And the Seahawks, which are somehow 8-7, Najee is scoring.
Let me say this. But this is Pittsburgh Steelers offense sucks. But I find it absolutely amazing that Mason Rudolph can get his name chanted by 60,000 people. Yet 2 years ago, these are the same people that say Mason Rudolph is the worst quarterback in the NFL and he should not be starting on my team. It's just crazy.
Who has a closer to last week game? Pickens or Cooper?
Oh, Cooper.
Was this the Pickens coming out party or an anomaly?
No, it's not coming out of anything. He just got lucky.
Mason Rudolph or Geno Smith? You're not playing either if you're in the this is the toilet bowl championship right here.
You know, I might pick Mason Rudolph over Geno Smith just because I gotta just speaking Geno Smith's name just almost makes me vomit. Now so does Mason Rudolph as well.
Yeah.
But I think I'm still good Geno.
Kenneth Walker III or Najee Harris?
I'll go Kenny Walker, but it's close.
Kenny, man, I thought he started out I don't know, injury.
Disappointing.
Yeah. Next year. Okay.
That's what we always say.
Yeah, that's good. That's the 4:05 game. Let's go to we have there are only 3 games in the afternoon. We have the Chargers and the Broncos. Big news of the week. Russell Wilson.
This could be the new worst game of the year right here. This might be dreadful.
You don't think that so we got Jared Stidham for the Broncos versus
that's who's starting?
Yes.
Oh my God, what is going on in this world?
So everybody, this is all went through while JJ Wang was working. I'm off as a teacher and he's driving home.
I knew Russell.
You knew Wilson was out there.
But I didn't know Stidham was still playing.
Stidham is the starter because Russ Wilson is refusing to take a pay cut, and they're like, "Okay, heck with you. We don't like you because you've sucked." And so yeah, they're starting Stidham this week. And which quarterback in this game?
Hold on. This is why they're not playing it because he refuses to take a pay cut.
It's money.
Who in their right mind is going to take a pay cut?
Is there an out? I don't know. I haven't looked at the contract. There might be. I don't think there's.
I feel like I don't care how bad I play. Did you pay me my money? You gave me. You're going to pay me my money, dude.
Money.
I'm not giving you a. You wouldn't take a pay cut as a coach if he was sucking. You don't ask the coaches to take pay cuts. Get out of here with that, man. I don't even like Russell Wilson. I got his back on this one.
Are you benching every Denver Bronco?
Oh, it's going to be so bad. I'm benching them all anyway.
Stidham or stick?
Oh God! You know what? I like Stidham at one point. I'll go Stidham, but I don't know what to do.
What are the chances, since Stidham's been playing with the B team, that Mims has the biggest week of the year because he's throwing to the second team offense?
I mean, maybe. I mean, Stidham can throw the ball deep. I mean, he's got a nice arm. He can randomly hit Mims open across the middle. I guess, sure.
1 pass for 80 yards. Oh, the Chargers. San Diego Superchargers. Eckler, where does he fall this week?
At the end.
I've got him at like 19. I got him at 19 or 20.
I got it. I mean, it's hard. It's hard for me to even say he's an RB2 at this point.
You got me. Isaiah Spiller have more carries?
I mean, it's possible.
I don't know. That game's gonna be terrible. Oh, another game that will be interesting. I don't know. The Bengals are visiting the Chiefs. Both teams are heaping piles of poop last week. They got lots of coal in their stockings and delivered some presents filled with it's like Adam Sandler dog poop that you light on fire in front of the
Yeah,
door.
I got the burning bag of poop. Yep.
Yeah, burning bag of poop going on there. Except for T. Higgins, who
Oh, no,
managed
no,
against me in
I
every
rephrased
game.
that. I rephrased flaming bag of poop.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I apologize. Somebody was going to call me out on it. It's flaming bag of poop. I'm sorry.
So except for T. Higgins, who managed to just kick everybody in the crotch against every game I had. I've never seen so much T. Higgins against me in my entire life. He just I had a game where I was against T. Higgins and Brees Hall. I was like, come on, man. And then Christian McCaffrey came on. It just wasn't good. But T. Higgins or Rasheed Rice, which guy are you more confident in? I guess I should have prepared and seen if Chase is still in the air. From
I
what
mean,
I
if
heard,
Chase,
Chase might
I
not
mean,
play
if
this week.
Chase, I mean, I'll probably go T. Higgins either way because just the
Yeah.
ceiling with the Chiefs offense right now is not very high.
I might. I think I've heard Chase might set one more week, but I might be Rasheed Rice might be tempting with him this week. He's looked. I mean, both their stat lines have been comparable
Yeah.
recently.
I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I still think Higgins is the better player. I think.
Okay, Mixon or Pacheco?
I mean, if Pacheco even plays,
Yeah. Well, if Pacheco doesn't play, it's CEH only.
I'll go Joe Mixon over.
CEH, is he a flex if there's no Pacheco? Pacheco played, so I think he's okay.
Can you imagine flexing CEH in the Super Bowl game? Oh,
I had to do it a few weeks ago, and it hurt.
yeah, that's not in the Super Bowl. That's not in the Super Bowl game.
It was I needed to keep my position spot. So the night game, which apparently is better than the Dolphins and the Ravens, is the Packers and the Vikings.
But I'd rather the Dolphins play Ravens play at one. That way, I get to watch it.
Well, it's because you're old.
That's
You old.
right.
This is New Year's Eve, baby. This is the game that leads you right up to not staying up for midnight. So now I'll be closer to midnight because it'll be a football game on. Oh, we got the Packers and the Vikings. The Nick Mullins versus Jordan Love game. They won at premiere in the nighttime slot before you watch the ball drop in New York City. Jordan Love or Nick Mullins?
I go Jordan Love. I mean, it
Nick
might be.
Mullins, baby. I'm a
I mean,
Nick
it is
Mullins.
close. I mean, Nick Mullins might he gets over. That's. I just don't like Nick Mullins. Feels like Geno Smith coming out of my mouth.
Romeo Dobbs had a game last week because Wicks got hurt. Christian Watson apparently is always going to be hurt in his career. And Justin Jefferson murdered it. We're looking at a running back of puke from both teams. Which running
Aaron Jones did look okay.
You just said he
But
looked okay. We're in championship week. We don't need okay.
well, I mean, if you got Aaron Jones as your running back, you're probably not in the championship. Either in
It's your flex.
these running. But I think Aaron Jones is probably the best one out of the bunch.
Okay, so I want you, as we close them out, that's for the week. What quarterback do you think will win somebody a championship that others might not? If you have to in desperation, is there a quarterback? I had my Nick Mullins brave prediction, or do you just think it's going to be somebody like Lamar who's going to just roll it through the championship?
Oh well, I mean, if we're talking Lamar, they go Lamar. I mean, ride Lamar all the way to the championship, baby. Yeah, but I mean, it's tough. I think it could be several. I mean, Flacco has a chance. I mean, it's there's going to be somebody out there who's starting Flacco. They're going to post a picture of it, and Flacco's going to win them a championship. I mean, I could totally see that happening.
Okay.
I mean, what and more like Baker Mayfield. I mean, if Baker Mayfield leads you to a championship as your QB1, I mean, that's absolutely amazing.
Outrageous league champion, hopefully. That'd be Baker Mayfield,
Maybe.
quarterback.
I mean, it's
Okay.
possible.
It's championship week, baby. We got to win. Give us some advice so we can hoist
Don't-
those.
It is the holidays and it's fall. Don't let the losses that you're going to suffer over the next couple of days ruin your. No, but just good luck to everybody. Go Lamar. I want Lamar to be on everybody's happy wish list, But yeah, good luck to everybody. See you in the new year. And as always, trust yourself and trust the process.